Okay, recording.
Hi, welcome to our special first time Gialloween edition of Schlock Talk. Uh, Gialloween is something that we've been doing for at least, I want to say, about 3 years or so now. It's kind of like the Thanksgiving weekend thing to do. And so I figured we'd do a segment of Schlock Talk for Gialloween films, which are Giallo, that we're picking. And this year we're doing it rather interestingly by watching the documentary All the Colors of Giallo from Severin Films. And we tried watching this before, Chad and I, and we got kind of a spoiler for The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. So this time I was like, well, let's go ahead and just avoid that by, as they mention new movies, we'll watch them. So we ended up watching The Whip and the Body, directed by Mario Bava from 1963. And this movie, according to the documentary and the person that's the main speaker in it, he thinks it can be considered a giallo. So, I was kind of on the fence about that. I felt it was more of a mystery, like a gothic mystery, or I think it's too early to call it a thriller. Um, However, one thing that was really impressive to me was just all the sheer color used throughout this film. There was just so much. Like, I know that's been used in Giallo, but I've never seen this much color. Maybe I just haven't watched enough Mario Bava films. Because, The Girl Who Knew Too Much, who I think came out before this, I think, it's in black and white. So, yeah. Um, I definitely like the Gothic setting. I was impressed with that. Um, were there schlocky elements? I don't think there were too many. There was specifically this fireplace that had a rotating passage in it. I think the first time they show it, it doesn't rotate back into place. It just played the sound effect like it did and just kind of let it go and hope that I guess nobody notices. But later on in the movie, they get it working again, and maybe they just didn't want to reshoot this. Maybe it's too costly to reshoot the scene. Um, anyway, that's my initial thoughts about the film. Let me go ahead and ask Chad and Laura what they thought, since they're both here today. I'll start with Laura, since it's easier to rotate around to you, Laura. There, I'll accept my hands in the way.
Yeah, I enjoyed that movie. Wish I wasn't falling asleep during it.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a slower paced film, right? I mean, different time period. They used to film much. They used to just do a lot more cinematography in scenes, and
Yeah, I'm surprised for a movie in the 60s. It had quite a bit of kink.
well, they kind of allude to that, right? But I mean, this movie is
Yeah,
definitely for adults.
yeah,
I mean, just when we see the scene, for example, with the coffin on fire, with the skeleton burning in it. I can't imagine when they have their kids like, look, little Jimmy, this is what happens when you light your corpses on fire.
yeah. But yeah, I thought it was a good movie. I liked the gothic setting as well.
Yeah, I've been wanting to see more gothic movies. That'll probably be a thing that I eventually do, is to do some kind of gothic thing. Although whether it be schlock talk, I don't know. um, was there any characters you especially liked in this movie, or anything you didn't expect? Anything you were surprised about?
I kind of figured out who was that she was just going crazy or whatever. So,
Yeah.
but like, I don't know. I like Christopher Lee's character, but he wasn't around for very long. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, his ghost was, or
yeah,
you
At
know,
least in her imagination.
yeah,
yeah, it was
yeah,
more his ghost.
yeah. Well, I was kind of, I wasn't really sure. I mean, I was definitely thinking unreliable narrator quite a while for her, but
Mm.
you know, I think what threw me off was the footprints, the muddy footprints.
Yeah,
She did seem to be making them, so I don't know who was making these muddy footprints. They were like all over the place. The somewhere seemed to be imagined because she's pointing to the floor, but
yeah,
but then they kind of throw you off because the one groundskeeper had muddy
yeah.
footprints.
I think it was the groundskeeper.
Yeah, except that then they determined the muddy footprints were coming from that secret passage. And then how did the woman put herself in the crypt? Or in the tomb? She like closed herself in there, and you saw how much trouble the guy had opening it. So
I don't know.
still seems to be some mysteries.
Unsolved mystery.
So Chad, how about your thoughts on this? Now that we have all these mysteries, how do you explain them, Chad? You got to tell us, because I don't know, Laura doesn't know.
So the magic of movies, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, I thought it was, it was definitely kind of a gothic theme to it, kind of, slower paced. Not like really schlocky. Maybe some of the acting was a little bit.
Maybe wooden.
Yeah, I didn't think it was schlocky.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
So but I like the movie, and like I said, it's kind of slower paced, but I guess kind of maybe at the end, you can kind of maybe see how it ties into Giallo a little bit. Certainly, if some Giallos have kind of ended that way with the, it's not. There's like a whole list of cast of characters, and you think, okay, who could have done this, and it winds up being the person that's crazy or whatever, and
That's true.
and they kind of hide it throughout the thing, and then at the end they revealed as or they had a crazy mother or something,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I could kind of see maybe this is kind of like an influenced Giallo a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think also what you're saying too about the color. I mean, it's just they certainly put a lot of work into that, and then the lighting, and like some they would go from like one it'd be kind of lit kind of in a yellow light, and then he would kind of move on, and it's kind of more of a blue light.
Yeah.
Just kind of changing the from he's like kind of fiery, and then maybe he's just kind of like.
Yeah, I've never seen it like this. Just a sheer amount of different colors. Why do you think they do that?
I think might have been at least at first maybe because it's like hey, we've got color, let's use it.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think also just maybe just has an eye for it. He thought it's like maybe like, oh, we get colors now. I have all these ideas of how we can use color, and like the beginning it focuses on these roses, and they're just like very red, and
yeah.
And it's just all this color. I mean, even though the movie itself is kind of dark, there's like still a lot of color in it.
Yeah.
And like also remember like the kind of the sunrise sunsets you would.
Oh yeah, that
you
one was just
kind
gorgeous.
Of figure out, kind of which they were, but they would have you'd have the sun like just either just coming up or just sinking below the. So below the horizon. So I mean, I thought that was you could definitely see the colors in that, and so.
Well, now I'm wondering, since you're mentioning the sunsets and sunrises and stuff, I'm wondering if maybe that wasn't the reason why Jess Franco was always shooting those sky shots. I mean, maybe he had seen this movie. I don't know. Brides of Dracula, the movie that influenced him to want to make horror films, had come out around the same time, I think, from Hammer, and that was in color. All the Hammer films were in color.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Laura? Why was this movie? Why is color used so much?
I don't know.
I mean, do you think I could?
Maybe it's just like a contrast.
Yeah, well, it could
kind
be.
Of dark, kind of gothic.
Yeah.
Because everything's like kind of dark and candle lit, so the colors kind of like contrast to make what's going on.
I mean, maybe they just wanted to use so much color because it was a new thing, and
Yeah.
yeah.
That's kind of what Chad was suggesting.
And one other thought I was. I guess for me also this was 1963.
Yeah.
But it just seems very quickly that Giallo evolved. More.
Oh yeah.
More kind of more violence, more higher body counts, and so it's like it seems like it evolved very quickly.
Yeah, I think one thing we're not getting from this documentary, maybe we probably won't from this documentary. We probably have to read up on the movies and things, like what other directors thought, what the public thought of, like how how sensational was this movie?
Right. I mean, when it came out, was it very controversial because this.
Oh, that's true.
Like the
whip
kind of Lord
elements.
of the whipping.
Yeah, that's
kind of whipping scenes, but then were they kind of in the woman's mind? Some of them,
Yeah.
because I mean, obviously, there's one the first time it happens. You know, they find her and
there were welts on her back.
right.
So,
But then
yeah.
you know, then it kind of, you know, then it was more the was it the spirit and this haunting spirit?
Yeah.
But then you find out there was no haunting spirit necessarily, and
Yeah.
she was just kind of So did she do that to herself, or did just like imagine?
Yeah. And did Kurt intend to kill his father? I don't think so.
No, because like you kind of alluded
yeah.
to it too, that his father was the one that could have kind of given him redemption, and then unless he kind of given up and said he's not going to do it, but still think that would be like his only hope was so he wouldn't want to necessarily kill his father.
No, I don't think so. Well, I guess I'll kind of finish this off here. The only thing I have to say about the color, because I mean I don't know why they used all the color either. To me, I think it just kind of sort of maybe represents emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And although why pick green and then immediately switch to red and things, although it's, there's a lot of conflicting emotion in this, and is any particular color associated with a particular feeling, like is green envy, is red passion, is,
was it anger or is it?
Yeah, anger, so there's a lot there to interpret. And I mean, I guess a person could sit down and try to map out the color, but I think for something like that, it's just would be a lot of work, and it'd probably be easier to maybe find interviews with Mario Bava and find out why he used the color. Maybe they'll talk about it in this documentary, because it is called All the Colors of Giallo, and so I think this was a great movie to start with, because wow, the sheer amount of different colors.
Yeah, that was impressive. I mean, it's even for that time, they kind of knew what they were like. They had a plan and they executed it.
Yeah. Now it makes me want to see more Bava films, because I mean I know he uses a lot of color and I haven't. And they did talk about how he used different techniques for different films. And Alora's been actually wanting to see one of his movies. It's a horror film called Black Sunday.
They mentioned that in the documentary, I think. They listed like a bunch of movies, and they mentioned Black Sunday.
Yeah. Actually, I think it's called Black Sabbath, which is how the band got their name.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there's a couple different movies with that title, though. I thought there's one about a football field where there's a game and there's a bomb planted. So I think that one's called Black Sunday, and so that's the one I associate with this. But then Black Sabbath is an anthology, horror anthology. So I think it's two separate movies. So maybe I have to think about that some more. Anyway, we're going to stop now. We're going to go enjoy some Italian cuisine at Uncle Dom's over on Pine Street. I've never been there. None of us have been there. Laura saw something they really wanted. What was it called, Laura? Cannoli of some sort.
Yeah, cherry.
Oh, so kind of a dessert.
Yeah.
What do you call those chocolate things with the cherries in them?
It's not cordial.
Yeah,
cherry cordial. Cannoli. Yeah.
Huh.
So I'll be interested to see how that looks. I don't know if I'll eat that, but Laura certainly will.
All right, I guess.
Yep, that's it for now. Thanks for watching this video, and look forward to talking to you about the next movie we're going to watch, which is Blood and Black Lace.